Admiral Nixis stood before the Galactic Council's observation window, her iridescent scales reflecting the starlight as she watched Earth rotate slowly beneath their cloaked vessel. 27 stellar cycles of military service had taught her to recognize threats before they emerged, and everything about this primitive planet screamed danger. They still fight among themselves, Senior Counselor Voss noted, his crystalline form pulsing with amusement. Their atmosphere is thick with pollution, and they haven't even established a unified planetary government. What possible threat could they pose? Nixis's facial tendrils twitched with frustration. That's precisely what makes them dangerous, Counselor. They've achieved space flight while still divided. They've created artificial intelligence without destroying themselves. They've mastered nuclear fusion while still burning fossil fuels. They don't follow any logical progression of technological development. You sound almost afraid, Admiral, Voss observed. Not afraid, Counselor. Cautious. 2 cycles ago, we detected their first primitive attempt at faster-than-light travel. Yesterday, they successfully teleported a living organism. They're not just advancing, they're leaping forward in ways that defy our understanding of societal evolution. On the viewing screen, a human space station drifted into view. Captain Jenna Walsh stood at its command center, unaware of the cloaked alien vessel observing her world. She was reviewing the latest test results from Project Breakthrough when the first anomaly appeared on her sensors. Dr. Patel, are you seeing this? She called out, adjusting the detection array. There's some kind of gravitational distortion at coordinates 227 by 344. In the Council ship, Nixis's sensors suddenly blared. Impossible, she muttered, checking the readings. They've detected our presence through the quantum cloak. How? Voss demanded, his crystalline structure flickering with alarm. They're using their primitive radar systems in conjunction with gravitational sensors. They've essentially created a detection method we never considered because it should be too crude to work. Nixis's tendrils coiled tightly against her neck, a sign of deep concern in her species. Back on the station, Captain Walsh was coordinating with ground control. Whatever it is, it's massive, she reported. And it's not behaving like any natural phenomenon we've encountered. The council chamber erupted in debate. Some called for immediate retreat, others for a show of force. Nixis watched as humans across Earth's military installations began mobilizing, responding to a threat they couldn't fully comprehend but had somehow managed to detect. We must proceed with the containment protocol, Voss declared. We cannot allow them to develop further. Their chaotic advancement poses too great a risk to galactic stability. Nixis felt her secondary heart begin to pulse, a warning sign her species had evolved to signal imminent danger. Counselor, with all due respect, containment would be a catastrophic mistake. These humans, they don't think like we do. They don't follow patterns we understand. That's precisely why they must be contained, Voss insisted. Order must be maintained. As if in response to his words, Captain Walsh's voice echoed through the station, all personnel, battle stations. This is not a drill. We are implementing First Contact Protocol Delta. I repeat, this is not a drill. Nixis watched in fascination as the humans began executing a response plan they had apparently prepared despite having no confirmation of alien life. They moved with practiced precision, yet their actions displayed an innovative flexibility that defied standard military doctrine. They're not following any known first contact protocols, she reported, monitoring their movements. They're simultaneously preparing for peaceful communication and military engagement. It's elegant in its chaos. The Council's diplomatic AI projected possible outcomes, all based on known species behaviors and historical precedents. But as Nixis observed the humans' continuing preparations, she realized none of those projections would prove accurate. These beings had developed contingency plans for scenarios they had no evidence existed. Request permission to attempt communication before we proceed with containment, Nixis proposed, her tendrils now rippling with a mixture of anxiety and fascination. We need to understand. A sudden burst of energy from the station interrupted her. The humans had launched what appeared to be a primitive communications probe, but its signature was unlike anything in their database. They're attempting to communicate, Voss noted, using technology they shouldn't have for at least another century. No, Nixis corrected, her sensors analyzing the probe's composition. They've combined 3 different technologies in a way that shouldn't work, but somehow does. They've created a quantum-enhanced radio signal by using their satellite television broadcasting network as a carrier wave. The implication struck her like a plasma burst. These humans weren't just resourceful, they were dangerously innovative. They didn't just think outside conventional boundaries, they seemed unaware such boundaries existed at all. As the probe approached their position, Nixis made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "Counselor," she said, her voice grave, "we must either open peaceful dialogue now, or prepare for a conflict unlike any the Council has ever faced. Because if we attempt to contain humanity, we will learn exactly why they've developed so chaotically. They thrive on overcoming limitations we thought impossible to break." The probe reached their ship, broadcasting a simple message in multiple formats simultaneously. Captain Walsh's voice came through clearly, "Unknown vessel, this is humanity's first official greeting to an alien civilization. We come in peace and hope you do as well. But if you don't, well, we've been preparing for that possibility since we first looked up at the stars." Nixis felt her tendrils go completely still, a rare sign of total focus in her species. The game was about to begin, and for the first time in her long career, she couldn't predict the outcome. These humans had already violated dozens of laws of technological progression. What else were they capable of? The containment protocol would have to wait. First, they needed to understand exactly what kind of species they were dealing with, before humanity showed them in ways none of them were prepared for. Commander Xylith of the Galactic Enforcement Fleet had seen countless species fall to containment protocols. Some fought with advanced weapons, others with cunning strategies, but all eventually succumbed to the overwhelming technological superiority of the Council's forces. Yet as she watched the humans' response unfold, something felt different. Dr. Marcus Fletcher stood in Earth's primary defense control center, surrounded by screens displaying an impossible scenario. The alien ships had appeared suddenly, their massive forms eclipsing satellites and casting shadows over major cities. But instead of panic, he felt a surge of excitement. This was what humanity had been preparing for, even if they hadn't known it. "They're positioning themselves in a standard pincer formation," he observed, studying the holographic display. "It's almost textbook, if we had textbooks for alien invasion strategies." "Which means they're underestimating us," General Santos responded, her weathered face illuminated by the emergency lights. "Just as you predicted, Doctor. They think we're primitive." Marcus nodded, pulling up the schematics they'd been developing for decades. "Every scientific breakthrough, every military innovation, every piece of technology we've developed, it's all been leading to this moment. Project Prometheus is ready." Above Earth's atmosphere, Commander Xylith prepared to initiate the containment protocol's first phase. Her ship, the inevitable Victory, moved into position alongside 12 others of similar class. Their energy weapons powered up, ready to disable Earth's primitive defense systems. "All ships report ready," her second-in-command reported. "The humans appear to be powering up some form of electromagnetic defense grid. Hardly a concern for our shields." Xylitha's sensory appendages detected something odd about the humans' power signatures. "There's something wrong," she muttered. "The energy readings, they're too scattered, too chaotic. Run a deep scan." Before her crew could comply, the first human defense platform activated. Instead of the expected electromagnetic pulse, it released something entirely different, a field of quantum-entangled particles that shouldn't have been possible with Earth's technology level. Impossible, Xylith breathed, watching as the field interacted with their shields in ways their sensors couldn't properly interpret. They've weaponized quantum uncertainty itself. In the defense center, Marcus allowed himself a small smile. Project Prometheus is operating within expected parameters, he reported. The quantum field is destabilizing their shield harmonics just as we theorized. They thought we'd try to overpower their defenses. Instead, we're making their technology question its own existence. Phase 2, General Santos ordered, her voice steady despite the unprecedented situation. Across Earth's surface, thousands of seemingly unrelated civilian installations suddenly revealed their true purpose. Solar farms reconfigured into energy weapons. Weather monitoring stations transformed into shield generators. And most surprisingly, the global network of cell phone towers began emitting a complex pattern of signals that played havoc with the alien ship's communications. Commander Xylith watched in growing alarm as her fleet's supposedly impenetrable defenses began failing in ways that defied explanation. How are they doing this? Their technology is centuries behind ours. That's where you're wrong, Marcus murmured, though the alien commander couldn't hear him. We're not centuries behind. We're thinking outside your timeline entirely. The alien fleet attempted to adapt, their advanced AI systems recalculating shield frequencies and weapons configurations. But the humans had anticipated this too. Each adaptation was met with a counteraction that seemed to violate the very laws of physics, or at least, the laws as the Council understood them. They're using their orbital debris as kinetic weapons, Xylith reported to the Council, her voice tight with disbelief. They're somehow controlling it with their planet's magnetic field? That shouldn't be possible. In the defense center, Marcus watched as Project Prometheus entered its final phase. We've spent centuries fighting among ourselves, he explained to the general. But in doing so, we learned to use everything at our disposal. Every piece of space junk, every outdated satellite, every seemingly primitive technology, it's all part of our defense network now. The alien fleet's formation began to break as more ships reported systems failures. Their advanced technology, designed to counter equally advanced threats, found itself vulnerable to attacks it couldn't properly categorize. The humans weren't just fighting back, they were rewriting the rules of engagement with each passing moment. Full retreat, Commander Xylith ordered, watching as another ship's shields failed under the assault of what appeared to be repurposed communications satellites. The containment protocol, it's not just failing. It's being turned against us. As the alien ships began to withdraw, Marcus turned to General Santos. Should we pursue? The general shook her head. No. Let them go. They need to report back to their council. They need to understand exactly what they're dealing with. In her retreating flagship, Commander Xylith prepared her report to the council. How could she explain that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology, but their ability to use seemingly primitive tools in ways that advanced civilizations had never conceived? They hadn't just survived the containment protocol, they had turned it into a learning experience. Send word to Admiral Nixus, she commanded. Tell her she was right. These humans, they're not just dangerous because of what they can do. They're dangerous because they don't know what they're not supposed to be able to do. As Earth's defenders celebrated their victory, Marcus looked up at the stars with a mixture of pride and anticipation. They'll be back, he said quietly. But next time, they'll come to talk. Because now they know, humanity isn't just ready for the galaxy. We've been preparing for it in ways they never imagined. The quantum fields slowly dissipated, the defense networks returned to their dormant states, and Earth's surface once again appeared primitive and unthreatening. But now the galaxy knew better. Humanity had revealed just a fraction of its potential, and the message was clear: underestimate us at your own risk. Lieutenant Raj Patel watched the holographic display of the solar system with intense focus. From his command post on the Mars colony, he had a unique perspective on the ongoing conflict. The alien fleet had withdrawn beyond Neptune's orbit, but they hadn't left the system. They were planning something, and it was his job to figure out what. "They're being surprisingly predictable," he muttered, marking fleet movements on the strategic display. 3 weeks had passed since humanity's first defensive victory, and the aliens seemed to be regrouping in a textbook formation. "Lieutenant," a voice called from the communication station. "We're picking up some strange readings from the asteroid belt." Before Raj could respond, a new presence made itself known. A shimmer of light coalesced into a translucent form, Oracle Thex, the mysterious representative of a splinter faction within the Galactic Council. The being's ethereal form pulsed with subtle colors as it spoke. "Your species continues to fascinate us, Lieutenant Patel," Thex observed, its voice resonating directly in their minds. "The Council believes they understand your retreat to Mars. They think you're consolidating forces, following standard defensive protocols. They're wrong, aren't they?" Raj smiled slightly, neither confirming nor denying. The Mars colony had indeed been evacuated of all non-essential personnel following the initial conflict, but not for the reasons the Council suspected. "You're taking a significant risk by contacting us, Oracle. The risk of not understanding humanity is far greater," Thex responded, its form shifting like smoke. "The Council prepares for a second containment attempt, but some of us believe this is a catastrophic mistake. We've been watching your people more closely than the others." On the display, red dots indicated the alien fleet's positions. They were moving in perfect formation, following strategies that had worked against countless other species. But humanity had never been interested in following others' rules of engagement. "Tell me, Oracle," Raj said, manipulating the holographic controls, "what do your people know about Earth's history of guerrilla warfare?" The ethereal being's colors shifted to a curious blue. "Our records indicate it's a primitive form of asymmetric combat, typically employed by technologically inferior forces." "Surely you don't intend to," Thex paused, its colors suddenly pulsing with realization. "The asteroid belt. You've been preparing it." "Humanity has always excelled at using the environment to our advantage," Raj confirmed, allowing himself a small smile. "While they've been watching Mars, expecting a conventional defense of a colony, we've been busy elsewhere." Throughout the asteroid belt, thousands of seemingly random objects began shifting slightly. What appeared to be natural movement to the alien fleet sensors was actually the result of months of careful preparation. Each asteroid had been carefully selected and modified, turned into a component of the largest trap ever conceived. "Your people think we retreated to Mars because it's our most developed colony," Raj explained, watching as the alien fleet continued their approach. "They don't realize we chose it because it gives us the perfect vantage point for what comes next." Oracle Thex's form rippled with concern. "The Council believes they understand your capabilities now. They've analyzed your quantum defense systems, studied your adaptation of primitive technology. They think they're prepared." "That's their second mistake," Raj said, his fingers dancing over the control panel. "Their first was assuming we would only have one trick to show them." Across the asteroid belt, hidden devices activated. Each one had been disguised as natural space debris, powered down to avoid detection. Now they hummed to life, creating a web of gravitational distortions that the alien sensors registered too late. "What you have to understand about humanity," Raj continued, watching as the alien fleet realized their predicament, "is that we've spent our entire history imagining threats from the stars. Every science fiction story, every military strategy game, every hypothetical scenario, they've all been preparation for this moment." The alien fleet's perfect formation began to break as asteroids moved in ways that defied natural physics. The humans had turned the entire belt into a gravitational maze, using technology that appeared to be cobbled together from mining equipment and satellite parts. "Impossible," Thex whispered, its form fluctuating rapidly. You've weaponized chaos itself. No, Raj corrected, we've weaponized imagination. Every impossible thing we're doing, we dreamed up centuries ago. We just needed the right motivation to make it real. The alien fleet found themselves caught in a three-dimensional chess game where the board itself was their enemy. Each attempt to predict the asteroid's movements failed because they followed no logical pattern. They moved according to plans created by humans who had grown up reading about space battles that defied conventional physics. Your species, Thex observed, watching the chaos unfold, you don't just think outside the box. You deny the existence of the box entirely. Raj nodded, initiating the final phase of the operation. We call it Project Labyrinth. The entire asteroid belt is now effectively a minefield that rearranges itself based on the enemy's attempts to navigate it. The more they try to apply logical solutions, the more chaotic it becomes. The alien fleet's attempts to retreat were met with equally unpredictable obstacles. They had entered what they thought was a simple field of space debris, only to find themselves trapped in humanity's version of a cosmic game of cat and mouse. The Council must be informed, Thex declared, its form beginning to fade. They don't understand what they're dealing with. This isn't just about technology or military strength. Your species has turned centuries of imagination into a weapon more powerful than any conventional arms. As the Oracle vanished, Raj turned his attention back to the tactical display. The alien fleet was trapped, but not destroyed. That wasn't the point of this exercise. The real victory wasn't in defeating them, but in showing them something they had never encountered before, a species that had spent its entire existence preparing for the impossible. Send the message, he commanded. Let them know we're ready to talk, not as a primitive species to be contained, but as equals who see the universe through very different eyes. The stars twinkled silently as humanity's message was transmitted to the trapped fleet. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous weapon isn't advanced technology or superior numbers, it's the ability to think in ways that make the impossible possible. Engineer Diana Rodriguez hadn't seen daylight in 3 weeks, but she didn't mind. Deep beneath the Nevada desert, in a facility that officially didn't exist, she was about to change the course of the war. The underground lab hummed with energy as she made final adjustments to what looked like a mess of outdated technology and alien salvage. Status report, came the gravelly voice of Sentinel KRYV through the quantum communicator. The alien defector had become humanity's most unlikely ally after witnessing their defense of Mars. His expertise had proven invaluable, even if he still couldn't comprehend how humans approached problem-solving. Remember how you said it was impossible to merge your quantum technology with our electromagnetic systems? Diana asked, her fingers dancing across multiple keyboards simultaneously. Turns out, impossible just means no one tried hard enough. The salvaged pieces of alien tech scattered across her workstation pulsed with an inner light that shouldn't have existed. By all known laws of physics, the jury-rigged combination of Earth's primitive technology and advanced alien components should have catastrophically failed. Instead, it was doing something entirely new. What you're attempting contradicts every principle of unified field theory, KRYV protested, his holographic form flickering with agitation. You can't just combine technologies that operate on fundamentally different principles. Diana grinned, pushing her safety goggles up onto her forehead. See, that's the problem with advanced civilizations. You've got all these rules about what you can and can't do. Humans? We look at rules as suggestions. Sometimes, the wrong way is the right way. Above their hidden facility, the Council's second wave of ships had begun their approach. They had adapted their strategies after the asteroid belt trap, thinking they had finally figured out how to counter humanity's chaotic tactics. They hadn't counted on humanity having dozens of other plans already in motion. The Council believes they understand your species now, KRYV observed, watching Diana's work with a mixture of fascination and horror. They think they've cataloged all your possible defensive capabilities. That's because they're still thinking linearly, Diana replied, connecting what appeared to be a modified smartphone to an alien power core. They assume we develop technology in a logical progression. But humans? We develop technology like we're playing with Legos. If the pieces fit together, we'll try it, even if the instruction manual says we shouldn't. The alien salvage sparked dangerously as Diana integrated it with Earth's global communications network. She had essentially created a hybrid system that used cell phone towers as quantum relay points, turning the planet's existing infrastructure into something that defied conventional physics. What exactly are you creating? KRYV asked, his holographic form leaning in to study the apparatus. We're calling it Project Echo, Diana explained, initiating the power-up sequence. Your people think they can predict our tactics because they've analyzed our technology. But they're looking at each piece individually. They never considered what would happen if we combined everything. Across the planet, cell phones suddenly gained capabilities that their manufacturers had never dreamed possible. Social media networks became quantum-entangled information systems. Video game consoles turned into processing nodes for calculations that would make advanced AI systems crash in confusion. Impossible, KRYV whispered, watching as the global network came online. You've turned your entire planet's communication infrastructure into a quantum defense grid. Not just defense, Diana corrected, her eyes reflecting the glow of multiple screens. We've created a new form of technology that doesn't fit into any known category. It's not Earth tech, it's not alien tech, it's something entirely new. Something that only works because we didn't know it shouldn't. In orbit, the Council's fleet detected the activation of Diana's creation. Their sensors, designed to identify and counter known forms of technology, couldn't properly categorize what they were seeing. Earth had become a technological paradox, operating on principles that simultaneously violated and confirmed multiple laws of physics. They're trying to scan us, Diana noted, watching the data streams. But our system keeps changing faster than they can analyze it. Every phone call, every text message, every cat video being uploaded, it's all becoming part of the quantum network. The more they try to understand it, the more it evolves. KRYV's hologram flickered as he processed the implications. Your entire species, you're not just adapting to advanced technology. You're forcing it to adapt to you. Exactly, Diana said, initiating the final phase. Humanity didn't wait for someone to give us the right tools. We took what we had and made it work. Your people think technology has to develop in ordered steps. We see it more like a buffet, mix and match until you find something interesting. The Council's ships began to retreat as their systems were overwhelmed by signals they couldn't interpret. Earth's hybrid technology wasn't just defending the planet, it was actively reaching out, trying to integrate with any system it could find. The very chaos of human communication had become a weapon that no logical defense could counter. Send the message, Diana instructed, watching as the alien fleet withdrew to a safe distance. Tell them we're ready to negotiate, but this time as equals. They need to understand that humanity isn't just catching up to galactic technology, we're creating something entirely new. As the transmission went out, Diana finally allowed herself to relax slightly. Through the quantum communicator, KRYV spoke softly, you know the Council will never be able to predict what your species will do next. That's the point, Diana replied, looking at the improvised marvel she had helped create. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our determination. It's our ability to look at the impossible and say, why not? And now the galaxy needs to decide, will they try to contain us, or will they join us in rewriting the rules of what's possible? The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so crowded. Representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered to witness something unprecedented, humanity's formal response to the containment protocols. Admiral Nixus stood at the center, her scales reflecting the chamber's light as she prepared to deliver her final report. Distinguished members of the council, she began, her tendrils moving with carefully controlled emotion, we have fundamentally misunderstood humanity from the start. Our mistake wasn't in underestimating their technology, it was in trying to categorize them at all. The chamber's holographic displays activated, showing scenes from the recent conflicts. Captain Jenna Walsh's first contact maneuver, Dr. Marcus Fletcher's quantum defense grid, Lieutenant Raj Patel's asteroid gambit, and engineer Diana Rodriguez's impossible hybrid technology. In just 6 weeks, Nixus continued, humans have demonstrated capabilities that violate 47 of our fundamental laws of technological progression. But that's not what makes them remarkable. What makes them unique is their inability to recognize impossibility. Senior Counselor Voss's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. Are you suggesting we simply allow this chaos to spread throughout the galaxy? Their unpredictability makes them dangerous. Their unpredictability makes them invaluable, Oracle Thex countered, materializing in the chamber. I have walked among them, seen how they think. They don't just solve problems, they redefine them. The chamber erupted in debate, but a new voice cut through the chaos. On the main display, Diana Rodriguez appeared, standing alongside Sentinel KRYV in Earth's underground facility. You're right to be scared, Diana addressed the council, her voice steady. Humanity is chaotic, unpredictable, and probably crazy by your standards. But ask yourselves this, while you've been trying to contain us, how many new technologies have we created? How many impossible problems have we solved? Lieutenant Patel's voice joined from Mars. Every attempt to contain us has led to innovations that your civilization hadn't considered in millennia of advancement. Not because we're smarter, but because we never learned what we weren't supposed to try. Dr. Fletcher appeared from Earth's Defense Command. We don't follow your rules of technological progression because we never knew them. Our primitive approach has led to solutions your advanced civilization couldn't see precisely because you knew too much about what shouldn't work. Captain Walsh spoke from her station, you see chaos in our methods because you're looking for order. But humanity's strength lies in our ability to embrace the unexpected, to find opportunities in impossibilities. Admiral Nixus raised her appendages for silence. The containment protocols have failed not once, but 3 times. Each failure has resulted in technological advances that our finest minds are still struggling to comprehend. And now, humanity offers us a choice. The chamber's displays shifted, showing the spread of human innovation across the solar system. The quantum-enhanced communication network, the adaptive asteroid defense system, the hybrid technologies that defied classification, all of it operating in ways that simultaneously violated and expanded upon known scientific principles. We stand at a crossroads, Nixus declared. We can continue attempting to contain humanity, watching as they turn each attempt into another opportunity for innovation, or we can accept that the galaxy's understanding of possible needs to change. Oracle Thex moved to the chamber's center, its form rippling with intense colors. I have seen their future paths. Continue opposing them, and they will keep breaking every rule we throw at them. But embrace them. The oracle's form expanded, showing visions of possible futures. Embrace them, and they will help us break rules we never knew were holding us back. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just survived the containment protocols, they had used them as inspiration for advancement. Each attempt to restrict them had only proven why they couldn't be restricted. The vote before us is simple, Nixus concluded. Do we continue trying to force humanity to follow our rules of progress, watching as they rewrite those rules with each attempt? Or do we accept that sometimes the greatest advances come from those who never learned what they couldn't do? In Earth's Defense Command, the gathered human leaders watched as the council prepared to vote. Dr. Fletcher turned to Captain Walsh with a slight smile. Do you think they understand yet? That the more they try to predict us, the more we'll surprise them? I think they're beginning to, Walsh replied, watching the proceedings. The question is whether they're ready to admit that progress doesn't always follow a straight line. The Council's vote was unprecedented. For the first time in its history, a species would be offered full galactic membership without completing the standard technological progression. Humanity would be accepted not despite their chaotic innovation, but because of it. Admiral Nixus delivered the final words to the human representatives: "Welcome to the galactic community. We look forward to learning all the things we never knew we could do." Diana Rodriguez, standing in her underground lab surrounded by technology that shouldn't exist, smiled at the alien representatives. "Trust me," she said, already sketching plans for her next impossible invention, "you haven't seen anything yet." The stars seemed to shine a little brighter that day, as humanity prepared to share its unique perspective with the galaxy. They would bring their chaos, their creativity, and their unshakable belief that impossible was just another word for, hasn't been tried enough times. The universe would never be the same. And that was exactly the point.